Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or indeed good evening, depending on your time zone and depending on when you are watching this. I'm James Innes, and this is my YouTube show, The Jobs Guru. It is Tuesday, the 23rd of June, 2020. My first show this week, my first show since the summer solstice. I can't believe the days are getting shorter again already. It's one thing getting up at 5 a.m. for this show when dawn has already broken. It's quite another when it's pitch black outside. Anyway, summer's still here for a while yet. No need to get depressed just yet. But if you aren't, then on a more serious note, please do check out my video, Surviving Depression. I'm delighted to see you all here for today's episode of The Jobs Guru. I extend a very warm welcome to all those who have subscribed since the last episode. And if you haven't yet subscribed, then please do think about subscribing so that you don't miss out on the next episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about interviews in a digital space. If you have any questions or comments as you watch, then do please type them into that comment section below. And if you like what you see, then do please, of course, hit that YouTube thumbs up. So, I don't know about you, but I hadn't even heard of Zoom before lockdown started. I don't know, should I be ashamed to admit that? I don't know, but I use Skype, obviously, and all sorts of other things, Google Meet, etc., but I'd never heard of Zoom. Now it seems not just anyone who's anyone, but everyone has been using it to stay connected with friends and family, taking advantage of the live video, the chat, ability to screen share, even record sessions for posterity. And the business world has also benefited from Zoom and other similar services, enabling companies to continue recruiting new talent by conducting virtual job interviews. Now, whilst the technology itself may not be brand new, its widespread application in this way certainly is. And like it or not, it could well be here to stay because of the potential benefits to both recruiters and candidates. Logistics. It's much easier to schedule an interview virtually when transportation isn't an issue. Flexibility. Interviews can be more easily arranged at a day and time that suits everybody. It's less stressful. Candidates can feel much more relaxed in an environment they're more familiar with, and that is actually beneficial to the interviewer too. In many ways, the virtual interview is actually very much the same as a face-to-face interview, and all the same rules that I talk about in, for example, the interview book, they still apply. So let me run through some here. First of all, do your homework. Make sure you have thoroughly researched the company and the position that you are applying for. So any questions the interview may throw at you, you need to be able to answer them confidently, of course. Don't just read those answers from a script. Notes are fine to refer to, but parrot fashion responses won't work for you. Dress appropriately. The virtual interview is, still your first opportunity to impress the recruiter. And even though lockdown may have been spent in your pajamas or even less than your pajamas, you should still be smartly dressed for the interview and not just your top half. Prepare and practice answers to the kind of questions the recruiter may ask you. Get a friend or family member to practice with you if you like, and I'll talk a bit more about the benefits of that in just a minute. Use appropriate body language. What you say and how you present yourself when you are saying it are equally important in any interview scenario. You should also be alert to the recruiter's body language and non-verbal cues so that you can react to them accordingly. Ask legitimate questions. It's not just the recruiter who gets to ask the questions, you do too. And you most certainly should. Use those questions to show your interest in the company and the position. Certainly don't just ask about money. And turn up on time. Make sure you're at your desk, dining table, coffee table, whatever it might be, ahead of schedule, just as you would make sure that you got to a live interview a few minutes early. Or at least I hope you would, wouldn't you? That said, there are ways, of course, in which a virtual interview is different, and for many people, potentially more intimidating than a face-to-face interview. So here are a few ways you can make sure that you are fully prepared, including from an emotional, psychological perspective. Number one, test your tech. Remember I said earlier you could practice some interview questions with a friend or family member? Well, that's also a perfect opportunity for you to make sure that your technology does what you need it to do. Positioning of the camera, the lighting, the angle of the lighting, it can make a huge difference. So it's really important to make sure you play around with that, practice it, to make sure you're presented in the most flattering way possible. You can do that on Skype with a friend or family member. Also, obviously, make sure you're in a good position so you can maintain confident eye contact with the viewer as well. That's very important. Number two, set the scene. One of the advantages of the virtual interview is that you have control over your own environment. So choose a room you're comfortable in, obviously, not your bedroom, far too personal and intrusive amongst other things. Make sure you remove any clutter from the view of the recruiter. Ensure there's no way you'll be interrupted by children or pets. We all remember Professor Robert Kelly, whose 2 children had to be herded out of his study by his wife during a live interview on BBC. Classic. Hilarious. But hilarious, it may have been. I'm sure any interviewer faced with a similar situation, yes, they would find it entertaining too, but it doesn't speak too well to your planning abilities. Now, do you want a viral video clip or do you want a job? So, take a leaf out of my book. Barricade the door with a great big heavy box that no child can move. And do check that there are cats in the room before you barricade yourself in. I'm speaking from experience here. Number 3, switch off tech that you don't need. Just as being interrupted by the kids or the animals, whether it's cats, dogs, whatever it might be, budgies, that can be distracting, certainly. But a mobile phone ringing, a loud doorbell, an errant echo device, thinking you said Alexa when you were actually just saying, I don't know, Alex or something. They can all have the same effect. So check and double check that any technology not required for the virtual interview is switched off, or better still, take it out of the room completely, just in case. Even think about Siri on your iPhone. Every time I say to my daughter, "Hey Zoe," Siri thinks I'm talking to him. So, an air purifier that might suddenly power up halfway through, switch it off, or just get it out of the room even, if you're particularly paranoid. Number 4, mental preparation and mindset planning. I can't emphasize enough that how important it is to make sure that you are mentally prepared for the virtual interview. It can be very intimidating, yeah. A few things to try to bear in mind, to remember, that might help you to get through it. First of all, remember to breathe. Yes, I know. Yeah, absolutely. You're probably going to breathe anyway, otherwise things really will go horribly wrong. When I say remember to breathe, I mean remember to breathe slowly. Okay? Slow, deep breaths. Take it easy. Calm down. Control your nervous energy. Focus that nervous energy. Avoid too much coffee before the interview. You don't want to be all jittery. And obviously, I shouldn't need to mention this, but avoid alcohol too. You might not smell of alcohol, but it'll nonetheless affect your behaviour in ways that the interviewer might well pick up upon. But do drink, just not vodka. Have a glass of water nearby. Not only can this help with the inevitable dry mouth that pretty much everyone experiences during an interview, it can also help to buy you time when you think of the best possible answer to a tricky question. The question comes at you and you go, nod wisely, have a sip of water, think about it, and smile. Nobody is 100% comfortable in an interview situation. We're comfortable when we're lying in bed or sitting on the sofa watching TV. We're not really ever 100% comfortable in an interview situation. Not even many interviewers. So a simple smile can put you and them at ease. Oh, and try to enjoy the conversation. This might sound somewhat impossible to some people, I know, but an interview is actually a conversation between 2 people. It's not a one-way interrogation. Approach it from the perspective of it being a 2-way dialogue, or as I say, just a conversation, and you will feel much more relaxed. Tip number 5, last but not least, be confident. There's obviously a fine line between confidence and arrogance, and you don't want to cross it. But it's important to remember, they asked you to the interview, not the other way around. They've seen your CV or your application. They've obviously judged that you have the potential to become an asset to their team. They're starting to believe in you. So all you need to do is believe that yourself, and you will nail it. Recent research indicates that I think 25% of recruiters make up their mind within the first 5 minutes of seeing a candidate. But if you get all of these things right, then it's a lot of them do make up their mind very quickly and might already made up in advance. But focusing on that interview, getting it right, is still very, very important indeed. So now, we are not far from the end of today's show. I'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday. Remember, this show is Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday each and almost every week. Just 2 more things. First, I must squeeze in some routine but important requests. Do please check me out on social media and connect, follow, or otherwise stalk me, but please don't troll me. Nobody likes trolls. If you have any questions or comments about this episode, about this episode, about the show in general, or indeed about life, the universe, Yves Klein and Nouveau Realisme, whatever, do please let me have them below. If you like this episode, then hit it with that YouTube thumbs up. Do think about both subscribing to my channel and ringing that bell, ding-a-ling-a-ling, so you don't miss out on the next episode. And if you've already done all of that, well, thank you. Finally, what is happening in the next episode? Well, tomorrow I'm going to be looking at practical tips for remote working and, in particular, working from home. I do hope you'll tune in. Thank you for watching today. Keep safe and be well, my friends. Goodbye.